Okay, let's start up SketchUp. I want you to remember that when you install SketchUp 2016, it will be unlicensed for 30 days with the Pro version, and then after 30 days you can say basically I don't want to pay for the Pro version anymore, so just give me the free version after 30 days. That'll be fine. Choose Template, make sure that you're scrolled all the way to the top, choose the fourth one down which says Architectural Design Millimeters, and then click Start using SketchUp. Okay, I think what we'll do is we'll start with the Getting Started toolbar, and in a future lesson I'll show you how to change that to the more advanced toolbar. But what we do want to add is the views. So I'll right click over here and turn on views. And then I'm going to bring it to the right there, and then because I've got it on two layers, I'm just going to drag this slightly down until it snaps to all one layer. There we go. And if I go to a front view, you'll see that this green goes back at a weird angle. That's the y-axis, and it's at a weird angle because we're still in perspective mode. So to change that, we go Camera, and we turn off Perspective right there by going on to Parallel Projection. Okay, and now you can see it's on parallel, not perspective. And by doing that, we no longer see the green axis because the y-axis is going straight back. If I were to hold down the middle mouse wheel, like a button, that's the Orbit tool. And you can see that tool on the toolbar as well. If you click that, you can do it that way. So I think we'll use this one for now. And that's the hand, which I can move around. So let's go back to a perfect front view with that button. Use the hand to move this across to there, and we're going to use the rectangle tool, and I'm going to start approximately on the red line, but don't worry if it's not perfect. And I'm not going to click and hold the mouse. Let me show you why not. If I click and hold the mouse and then let go of the mouse button over here somewhere, then that's done. And that's bottom right hand corner, 6078 millimeters by 3143 millimeters. Okay, so I'm going to press Ctrl Z, and I'm going to show you the way most operations work in SketchUp, and that is you single click the mouse, you let go of the mouse button, and move over here somewhere, about in the right direction at least, but then I'm going to type in a value, 4000, 2400, enter. Now I'm going to use the Offset tool, which is this one right here. And again, I'm not going to click and drag, because if I click and drag, it drops it off somewhere, and I don't want to do that. I want to type in a value. So I'll Control Z that to undo it. I'll click once, and then let go of the button. Move in the direction I want to offset, either outside or inside, and then type in the value, 100, enter. Okay, so I'm happy with that. Now I'm going to get the pencil tool, and I'm going to zoom in a little bit with the wheel. And I want to break this up into a whole bunch of triangles, but in a relatively random looking way. Basically, we're trying to make something that looks more natural instead of just a simple rectangle like most walls. So I'm going to start in the corner there. Go down to about there. Maybe do something like this. Maybe do something like this. And if it doesn't come out nice the first time, it's not a big deal. Just try it again. I want to stick to triangles because I know that triangulation makes the wall stronger. So if I don't have a triangle and I end up with a quadrilateral or even a pentagon or something else, or an irregular pentagon, then I just want to simply triangulate by adding more vertices, like so. And I want to try to make it look relatively random, which is difficult, actually. So if at first you don't succeed, try again. And I just want to show you, you can also rub things out with the rubber over here. If you don't like the way something looks, you can easily rub things out and then start that area again. So it's not a big deal if you make a mistake, because you can always start over from a different starting point. Okay, now as I've done this and I forgot to go right on the line, it's done that little extra bit, so I'm going to undo that, try again. Control Z is undo. And it's trickier than you might think to make something look random. The correct way to do this, of course, would be to write some code to generate the random pattern, and then just press play, and it would generate hopefully an interesting shape or pattern. Let's go across here like that, go up there. Maybe this one can be broken up, and that one. And I think sometimes it's nice to have a couple smaller shapes every once in a while. I think we'll stop there. Look for any quadrilaterals or anything larger than 3 sides and do something with those, like so. Have I got any more quads? There's a quad. Go break that up. If you don't like that, Control Z, undo it, try something else instead. That looks nice. And I'm ready for the next step. Okay, so we're going to use the offset tool again. And there it is. And I'm going to click inside one of the triangles and click once, but don't hold down the button. Move inwards, not outwards. And this time we're going to go in by 50 millimeters. So I type 50, enter. And once I've done it once, I can double click on the rest of the triangles and it will inset it by 50. Be careful you don't move the mouse by accident, because if I move the mouse while I'm clicking, it will do that. So I'll have to undo that. Click once, move in 50, type in 50, enter, and now I can continue to double click. If you ever get something that looks odd, don't forget you can always rub lines out and start again. Done. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is grab the selection tool, which is the arrow. Click on the inner triangle and press the delete key on my keyboard. Whoops. When you select a line, it goes solid blue. When you select a fill or a surface area, it goes dotted blue. And that one. Okay, next step, grab the rubber, and we're going to rub the internal lines out, just like so. And the reason we offset the triangles by 50 is because they're next to each other. 50 plus 50 makes 100, so the thickness of the lines resulting will be the same thickness as the outer perimeter, which was 100. And when I'm using the rubber, this is probably one of the only times I actually hold down the mouse button, because as I hold down the mouse button I can go over more than one line to delete it. If I wanted to, I could simply click one line at a time without holding down the mouse button. But I prefer rubbing the things out like a normal rubber. Okay, now we're ready to put the object into 3D. So I'm going to click on the orbit tool, and orbit around this way. Turn on perspective. get the push-pull tool, which is this button right here. Click once, let go of the mouse button, push it back, type in 100, enter. And now I've got a 3D wall section with holes for the windows. Now get the arrow tool, triple click the object, 1, 2, 3. Go to Edit, Make Component, call it Wall, Create. Now I'm going to make 3 more copies. So using the hand tool there, I could do that. And I'm going to make sure that the object is selected. Okay, so this is the other principle in SketchUp that you need to get used to, and that is to select something prior to using the tool. So I could get the rotate tool and do something to this, but it wouldn't rotate necessarily in the right direction. So what I do instead is I get my arrow, select the object I want to rotate, then I get the rotate tool, and I'm actually going to go down onto the bottom right there, the corner, and I don't want to rotate it around the green axis. I'll show you what that does. If I click once and click up there, and then I can rotate it in that direction. I'll press Ctrl Z. I actually want to make my protractor go not around that axis, not around that axis, but around the blue axis. Go near the corner, and then I move slightly to the right, and there it is around the blue axis, which is the Z axis. So I click once, right, and then I can click out here a second time, and then I can move out this way. And to make a copy, I simply tap the control button once. And now it's making a copy. And if I go on to the protractor, you can see that it sticks to those angles. And in the bottom right hand corner of the screen, it tells you what the angle is. 60, 75, 90. Or, and this is probably better, I could just type in 90, enter. 90, enter. Okay, now I'm going to use the hand to move over like that. Use the orbit to do that. Get the rotate tool. Do the same thing again. Front corner, blue protractor, click once, stretch out this way, click another time, go out this way, tap Control, makes a copy, and then type in 90, enter. Okay, and now the shortcut for the hand tool. Hold down Shift on your keyboard and press the middle mouse button like a wheel. Middle mouse wheel like a button. Okay, so that's Shift, middle mouse wheel like a button. Let go of Shift, middle mouse wheel like a button is the orbit tool. Okay, zoom with the wheel. My rotate tool is still selected. Click in the bottom right corner. Click once. Click a second time. Tap Control, type in 90, enter. Okay, I've got my 4 wall sections. I'm going to get my arrow tool, and I'm going to select all 4 sections. I could draw a rectangle around them like that with the selection tool, or I could click on one, hold down Shift, and add to my selection like so. And if you ever add something and then you think, oh, I don't want that after all, you can tap it. As long as you've got Shift down, you can tap it again to unselect it. But I do want all of them. Then I get Edit, Make Group this time, not Make Component. Make Group. Okay, now that's one group, so when I select it to move it, it's all one thing. Now I'm going to get the rectangle tool again. Middle mouse wheel like a button. Orbit. Zoom in. Click right in the inside corner there once. Okay, and I don't have to type in the value. I can actually zoom out all the way. Hold down Shift, middle mouse wheel like a button to pan. Let go of Shift, middle mouse wheel like a button, orbit. And now I'm going to do the second point on that opposite corner there, right there. Okay, we're almost done. I'm going to get my push-pull tool. Tap that surface. You can see the blue dots mean it's going to extrude that surface. Tap it once. And now I'm going to move it up, and if you remember the height of the wall was 2400, I could type that in, or I could simply just touch that surface and click my mouse the final time. So now it's up exactly the right height, and now I can use my selection tool, triple click it, that selected the entire cuboid, and not the walls which have been grouped. Now I'm going to go over to materials, and if you don't see this sidebar called the tray, you need to go Window, Default Tray, Show Tray. And likewise, if you don't see materials, because maybe the previous student has closed the materials tray, you simply go Window, Default Tray, and then make sure that there's a tick mark next to materials. Okay, now that I've got materials, I'm going to close the instructor, or I should say fold the instructor so it's hidden for a minute. And under materials, I'm going to choose glass and mirrors. Then I'm going to choose the blue glass, translucent blue glass, and then I'm going to tap the selected cuboid. Okay, now I'm going to get my arrow tool, tap just the top, press delete, just the bottom, press delete, and now I want to move these windows so they're halfway between the front and back of the wall sections, and we can do so with the push-pull tool. So grab that and tap that right there, and I can move that section. You can see how that's pushing and pulling it, and I want to push it in that direction but only by 50, so I type in 50, enter. Okay, middle mouse wheel like a button, orbit around, middle mouse wheel with a shift, pan, do the same thing. Tap the glass, move it in that direction, and then type in 50, enter. So your mouse is telling it what direction to move in, and the numbers telling it how much. Grab the glass, move it in that direction, type in 50, enter. Middle mouse wheel for orbit, middle mouse wheel and shift for pan. Grab the glass, move it in that direction, type in 50, enter. Finally, we can triple click the glass, 1, 2, 3, that's got all of it. Say edit, make group, and finally we can select everything except for the person. So if you do select the person, hold down shift and deselect the person. And now that I've got that, I can actually say edit, make group, deselect it, and that is your homework, to design something cool. It might take a couple goes, but in the process you'll be learning all the tools. Okay, good luck.